in hand, I want to welcome you all to Soup City 6, Season 4, Episode 5. I'm not sure about the universe. When we last left our coterie, Lucio had stepped into the near-at-hand shadows to begin silently and invisibly tailing the party of vampires who clearly had an enjoyable evening at the City Succubus Club, which just happened to be across the street from his sister and her childhood friend. In doing so, he reached out to Hestia, Clyde, Alex, letting them know that it was on, to paraphrase the impetus behind his actions, because he came face to face with the monster who haunted the last few memories of his human life, Laura Blakeney, who escorted him oh so gently off the mortal coil. So because there is literally just under 2 hours until sunrise, with everyone speeding to the succubus, as Lucio gives updates as to locations, as they begin to leave the area and move through the city. They're heading west over Ohio into the city proper, with Lucio trailing far enough behind to keep them in sight, close enough to keep aware as to where they are. The pack of them. But that's what it is. There are 9 kindred who Lucio sees as absolute, outright enemies. So we're going to handle this in alphabetical order, and we're going to approximate distance and time to get to where Lucio and this pack of kindred are as they head into the city proper, even at this hour of the morning, with, again, sunrise less than 2 hours away. There are still commuters, there's still kind floating across the city, heading home, heading to work, heading to get to transportation, to get out to the suburbs, to get to work, to those who don't have the ability or blessings to telecommute are on the street. Not nearly as many as would be during the bright hours of day, but definitively far more than one would expect in a smaller city. Whilst New York is the city that never sleeps, Chicago is the city that works. And work takes precedence over almost everything, from road safety to the rest that one needs on a daily basis to remain healthy and sane. So, leaving Rika as they cast their blessing and present a cone to you, Alexander, what is it? How are you going to make it to the succubus as quickly as possible?
I think I'm just gonna go the way I can here. Just like it's not within walking distance, is it?
It is not.
All right, so I'm just gonna drive there, I think.
All right. So are you going to honor the speed limits as posted, or are you throwing caution to the wind and using all due speed and all due haste?
Well, if I hit the speed limit and I don't have a good reason, then that could end up making it take a lot longer if I get detained. So I think I'm gonna slightly push the speed limit, but not overtly go over it.
Okay, sounds like a plan. So that being the case, all you need is one success, and it'll take you roughly about 25 to 30 minutes going just a little over speed. Would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your dexterity and drive? And give me a result. One success gets you there. Anything less, and then there will be other things we need to consider. Dizzy, riding passenger behind Hestia, that role is not your concern, but what are you doing in preparation for potentially meeting something that caused Lucio, the person who became a living shadow in front of you, to have some need to push all due haste? There was a thread of concern and need for speed in his text.
I'll probably play 400 questions on the way there, like why are we going, what's going on, what's happening. I'll also try to figure out how to use this gun that I have accidentally acquired.
Okay. Does Izzy have any experience with guns?
I'm sure she's been around guns, but she how to fire a gun. She doesn't know firearms score or anything. So.
Okay. So, do me a favor, roll a wits and insight as you fiddle with it and pop the clip and look at things and try to figure out. Yes, it should be as simple as point and shoot, but you've heard so much about recoil and you've seen how people are occasionally knocked end over end or knocked prone from firing, or worse, causing themselves harm.
That's a crit.
Ooh. You've seen bullets before. You've seen shotgun shells before. You've seen heavy ordnance before. Of course, from a distance, you've never fired it, you've never used them, but you've seen people who have. And sequels are all about defense, the best defense being a good offense. So as you pop the clip and look at the shells, you know that most guns of this size have anywhere from 7 to, you've seen as much as 13, 14 if you put one in the barrel. You're not sure what that's supposed to mean, but this clip only has 9 shells. They're about as wide around as a nickel if you look at the diameter of each end. The boring on this purported 9mm gun is a little bigger than you've seen, and you've had guns pointed at you, but you've never been used. But the bore on it seems really big. It almost seems like something out of a bad action movie from the 80s or 90s.
Well, holy crap.
Hestia, as Diz is ejecting the clip and looking over the gun and asking questions, are you seeking to arrive at all due haste, ignoring the speed limits, or are you attempting to manage something else? To stay within the speed limit to get there in a timely fashion, but get there when you can.
I know with the amount of cops that have been out in force, it's probably not smart to press the speed limit. I'm just gonna do more knowledge of the city because I've been around since before like most of these buildings were kind of in place. So, I know back routes and ways to avoid stuff. So I'm just gonna use that knowledge rather than Steve trying to cut minutes off by my route more than anything.
Okay. Well, that being the case, would you be so as to roll intelligence and insight? And when you get that roll going, while that's happening, is there anything that you're saying to help assuage Dizzy's clear concern of driving into whatever this may turn out to be?
Well, she asked why, and I explained about this being the person that made Lucio's sire, if I remember right, and about her being a pretty large Sabbat presence in the city, something that they have to worry about, and as hounds we're supposed to keep this kind of threat out of the city, but this is also slightly personal. And that he said that Lucio's sister was there and that we need to make sure nothing happens to them, just like telling her that kind of stuff.
Okay. Lucio, we're going to skip over you for a second, but in preparation, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and stealth and add your obfuscate to that? And while that's happening, Whispers, you are in the car laying mostly prone on the back seat, listening to everything that's happening. There's the immediate wondering that should cross your mind is you're in the car speeding safely through the city towards God knows what, and you hear Sabat, Sire of Sire, and Dizzy's questions. What would you be doing to mentally prepare or come to grips with? Have you had anything to add to that conversation?
No, but I'll be taking notes.
Okay. Well, while that's happening, wait a second. Gather up my notes and take a quick gander around. Everyone's moving. One success here, 2 successes there. That puts you all roughly easing off. And obfuscate as potentiality. I'm not automatic successes in this particular one. So, one color question I need to ask. Has anyone ever seen Lex driving his car? I.e., would you all know that that's his car, or would you be a little awkward by the fact that Alexander is driving?
I'm pretty sure if he's parked it at the shelter, we would have known whose it is.
Alright, 3 successes is always a good thing. 1, 2, 3, and that will be our approximate order as well. So, Lucio, as you tell me,
am I able to send text updates without breaking obfuscate?
there's nothing specifically against it, and if you're far enough back, it shouldn't attract too much attention, provided you keep the light as dim as possible.
Good. So that's what I'll be trying to do, and also I'll send a correction text to say, Thirst has an update. I was going to say, sending a text to Damien and to the rest of the coterie, there's also 6 others here that are definitely part of the group. Just so they understand that we might be going into this outnumbered.
Outnumbered is fine. You guys got this. You guys have this in the bag. You guys have survived and mitigated luck and chance every step of the way. All right, so Lucio, as you ease in the shadow of this pack of kindred as they move across the city, they don't seem to be hailing a cab. They don't seem to be looking for a ride, meaning wherever they're heading is almost specifically on foot. And as you give your geolocation as to, hey, here's where I am, there's more than 3, you realize that every 100 feet, 150 feet, one or more of them gives a quick glance over their shoulders, but they keep talking as if that's not the case. They seem to, and as you make your way through the city with these furtive glances behind, seems to be standard operating procedure for them to make sure that you're either alone or some other reason that a pack of kindred would be watching their hindsight.
Normally, I'd chalk it up to just standard paranoia, but just in case, I'm gonna follow a little further back than normal. Just in case they decide to suddenly rush at me.
Okay. And roughly about how far back are you? Half a block, quarter block, a full block, a little bit more than that? Your eyesight is pretty damn good considering you don't really need to refract light to see. You don't need anything bouncing off your, the structures of your eye. You see by supernatural ability because you are, at the very core, a corpse.
I'm gonna say half a block.
Okay.
And hope that that's far enough that they can't tackle me from that distance.
Tackling is not something that typically happens from that distance, to say the least.
To be fair, there are some of us that can jump that distance quite easily.
Yes. Without a doubt. Now, as you all, Hestia, Alexander, as the drivers of the approaching cars, are you guys going to stay in the vehicle, or you're going to exit the vehicle when you get close to Lucio's geolocation? His pins he keeps dropping along the way.
I'm probably gonna put the vehicle in a safe place and try to get the rest of the way on foot, because it's just more subtle and I don't know what kind of situation it's in.
Okay. Hestia.
Well, I absolutely hate to leave my car. Yeah, it's probably better if we kind of close in like a loose U, I guess, around his location, so that, because we don't know where exactly the people he's following are in front of him. We're just following him, right?
Yes, you're following the pins that he's been dropping since he initiated his tail.
So yeah, the next closest pin, I guess I would, park maybe like a block or so from, and then we just kind of stealth up and try to keep up with him. Or meet him part of the way.
Okay. Diz, whisper as Hestia swings into a parking spot to exit the car. What are you guys doing? How would you like to go about this in regards to what may or may not be happening?
Well, I have no idea who we're looking for or where we're going, so I'm just going to follow Hestia.
Now, I've seen Laura in my mind before. I know what she looks like, right?
Mm-hmm. Most assuredly.
So I would tell them that. I would, in the process of being in the car, I would have explained who we're looking for.
Okay. So, needless to say, you guys are on Chicago Avenue, just east of Wells, and instead of continuing on, because Chicago Avenue is a fairly busy street, at least on the north side. Wells is also another major intersection. As they get to the light, a half a block ahead of you, Lucio, and you know without really knowing, is keeping more watch on them, but being in the presence of your friends, your associates, of being in the presence of Hestia and Alex and Dizzy, more so than Whispers because he's the new addition to the coterie, you kind of know that they're there. Their footfalls. It's a busy enough street where a few additional faces wouldn't strike anyone as odd. But with your gaze focused on the pack ahead of you, As they get to the corner and they get to the light, they wait until the light for the crosswalk turns red. They had the green, they waited. And just as it turned red for them to cross, they took off across the street.
Okay. Oh shit. They have to know then. So I think actually. So like once they get across the street, are they like still gunning it, or because like what I'm thinking maybe they're doing is like doing this to see if I'm actually tailing them, or just out of paranoia. But at the same time, they might actually be doing it to because they already know.
There's a subway stop just the other side of, a little further ahead on Chicago Avenue, but they've already passed roughly 4 or 5 entrances to the subway. And when they make it across the street with the cars, in Chicago, there's always a chance of, whether you have the light or not, the cars on the street ignoring your right of way as a pedestrian. They continue running.
So they're not going to the subway?
Not at all.
I will attempt to follow them.
All right, so that being the case, go ahead and roll your dexterity athletics to dip, duck, and dodge the traffic, which has no intentions of slowing down. And while it's not rush hour or full daytime traffic, again, Chicago rarely sleeps. Everyone's on their way somewhere. And they have no intentions of allowing some silly pedestrians to be the cause of them not making it there.
And a single success.
Alright. Alex, Diz, Hestia, Whispers. You see Lucio take off as roughly 9 clearly undead, or at least foolishly living temporarily people take off ahead of him. What are you all doing?
Would they see me? Because I thought I was still obfuscated.
When you begin running, you'd immediately drop.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna give Whispers one of the cameras. And hey, if you can get close without letting them know you're there, we need good pictures of them for proof. It's not a digital camera, it's a Polaroid, so hopefully that'll work. And then I give him.
Okay, while you're discussing that, Alex, Diz, are you guys trying to catch up with Lucio, or you are sticking solely with Hestia?
I'm going to try to catch up with him.
I'm trying to catch up to Lucio.
Alright, go ahead and give me a dexterity and athletics roll for me, please, as you follow him out into traffic. Alright, so several things happen. Alright, Chicago, unfortunately, the carelessness of Chicago drivers comes to the fore. As you all make your way halfway across, well, specifically starting with Lucio, as you take off behind the pack, as they seem to be establishing some distance between you and themselves, you're clipped by a car. It's not enough to send you flying into the air, nor is it enough to keep the driver from continuing on their path. Shortly behind you, you hear a similar less than pleasant thunk and clip as Alexander and Dizzy are clipped by drivers as well. Chicago is, unfortunately, Chicago. And there's no stop because there's no apparent damage to the car. The window, the side view mirrors are still attached, so there's no angry jettisoning from the car as weapons are drawn or anything like that. But the drivers are completely and totally heedless. They have the right of way. You're just a simple pedestrian. As the pack ahead of you all makes their way over Chicago Avenue, they disperse. 3 take an immediate left across Chicago, heading south through the alley. 3 continue straight forward west over Chicago, and 3 head into what looks like an underground parking structure. Laura is part of the crew that breaks across Chicago Avenue, heading south into the alley. What do you do?
I'm going after her. And I'm also gonna try and I guess it's gonna be hard to do, but I'm gonna try and text Amy and like they're splitting up. I'm following Laura.
Alright, so wits and streetwise for your pursuit. What are the other 4 of you all doing? As Lucio heedlessly throws himself forward, pursuing Laura, Francois, and Wendy as they head south through the alley.
Do I see what Lucio's chasing, or do I see them split up?
You see a pack of 9 late-night partiers who clearly were out in the town, dressed in various degrees of stylish club gear. As they make it to the previous corner, they wait until the light turns red for them to not cross and then speed off. When they do, Lucio appears as if out of nowhere, chasing behind them. When they make it to the other side of the street, 3 break south, crossing yet the larger of the streets, Chicago Avenue itself. 3 continue forward, and 3 head north through what looks like an underground parking structure.
So I can either go after one of the groups that Lucio opted not to chase, or try to help ensure he succeeds in chasing the he did go after. I think I'm gonna keep following Lucio.
Diz, Hestia, whispers.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Lucio. He called us down here, so.
I'm following the eyes.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Hes?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep with the group.
Okay. So, as you all pull behind Lucio, as he gives outright chase to the party ahead of him, fumbling with his phone, and you need you to make a dexterity and melee roll to keep your phone from being thrown from your hand as you give actual outright chase. You're trying to compose a text and chase behind Kentry, who don't give a seeming care as anyone knows whether they're alive or dead at this point. You keep your phone from flying from your hands, but just barely, because this alley, unbeknownst to non-native Chicagoans, is precipitously inclined. It heads not only south, cutting behind Wells, but it also heads down. There's a slope to the alley, so that once you reach the apex of its descent, you are actually equal to Lower Michigan. And there's several pathways you could take to head back east to Lower Michigan. Keeping your phone, you unfortunately are unable to get that text off, or you are unable to keep them in sight. Which would you choose, Lucia?
I want to keep them in sight. I won't be able to get the text off.
There are certain things that shouldn't be done. There's certain things that can be best exemplified as clear-cut breaches of the masquerade. One of those is running full tilt into traffic, heedless of whoever might be watching. Another of those things is leaping forward with reckless abandon down a descent that is designed to not only break spirits but ankles as well. These three and their associates give not one whit as to anyone who may have an issue with them being anything but what they are. Clearly dead, clearly not mortal, and have no intentions of pretending to be so. They are howling and laughing and yelling with all of their undead lung capacity as they run heedlessly down a space designed to cause harm. When they reach the apex of this path's descent, Francois heads left, east, back towards Michigan. Wendy heads right, and Laura keeps running south along the path. Now we know that Lucio is focused here, but how focused is it? Is it at all costs, or is it at awareness?
I'm purely focused on Laura right now. So at all costs, I will try and get to her.
Okay.
Because I was trailing behind a little bit and kind of the last one, because I don't run as fast as everybody else. My legs are shorter. Once they start doing the leaping and the stuff, I have the other camera with me. I would legitimately stop and start snapping pictures just to make sure that we are completely covered.
Okay, so you're going to stop giving chase to try to keep them in frame?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll intelligence and technology. Because it's not as if they're not putting all due speed and haste into their attempts to establish distance. Whispers, being as you were previously just not too much further ahead of Hestia. What are you attempting to do?
I was trying to keep an eye on the rest of them, but everyone doubled into the alley. I'm gonna double around.
Okay. Diz, are you stopping with Hestia, or are you trying to keep up with Lucio and Alex?
I'm going to try to keep up with the boys there, but I'm going to move a little more cautiously because I feel like we're being lured into something at this point.
All right, so wits and streetwise for me there, Diz.
Just the one success then.
You've done something similar to this. It was part and parcel of your crew's operation to isolate, to circle the wagons, to bring what forces you had to bear against anyone who was a real threat to your crew. In fact, that's how you obtained the job, the drop run to Indianapolis. You all isolated and pulled, circling the wagons around what you initially thought was just a pervy stalker. This looks suspiciously familiar, though those other vampires went that way and then they went that way, so how are they circling? Now, at this point, would everyone be so kind as to give me now the threshold for success on this is going to be your standard 3, but I do need you all to roll your composure and athletics as you all decide what you're going to do as they keep moving Laura keep moving south along this area.
Composure and athletics, you said?
Yep. Because they have no intent. It doesn't seem as if Laura has any intentions of stopping, and the others seem to have pulled off and left her to her own devices. Alex, actually, this makes no damn sense. Why are they running this far away? I thought they were supposed to be the big bad monsters. Why are they running from you all? It's completely and totally senseless and makes no sense. Tactically, it made some sense with the idea that they may have been attempting to set you all up into a trap, but with her continuing to run really non-stop, this makes no sense, especially being as the others have left her. That is until further down, much further down, unfortunately, you find yourself as the alley spills out into a delivery bay. To your right is the bridge that is Superior. To your left is the skyscraper that houses several hundred businesses. And you all have Laura Blakeney pinned in. And though she doesn't need to breathe, it was clear that she had summoned the blood to give the appearance of life. So her skin is a little sweat soaked. Of course, her sweat, much like your own, is tinged in a pinkish hue from the vitae in your system, from the fact that you are very much undead, and all of your fluids are vitae. And she's panting a little heavily, and a smirk of recognition is sitting on her face. And she turns, looking up at the buildings around you all, and smiles. Hello, all. And as quiet as her voice is, it seems to carry as her eyes darkened. What would you all like to do?
I take out my gun and shoot her.
Shooting from the hip, go ahead, roll that dex and firearms. Alex, Des, Hestia, Whispers, you see this happening. What are you guys going to do?
Texting Damien to let him know where we are.
Okay, you're texting.
And then after I send that text, I'm going to start, I don't know, snapping pictures. Just to make sure.
I just wasted a willpower.
So Hesha is texting. Whispers is snapping pictures of Lucio assassinating a kindred in the middle of nowhere. Diz, Alex, what are you doing?
Sorry, I lied a little bit. Did you say she was on top of something?
Nope, she ran down the alley until it dead ended in a delivery bay behind this building, this actual skyscraper. To your right is a bridge that is superior. To your left is the skyscraper itself, and behind you, of course, is the alley that you all use to get here. As you all come to a close of what has been a almost mile foot chase, Lucio pulls out a very large hand cannon and fires. Hestia, who's closer to you, is texting. Whispers is trying to capture the shot, and the camera, while not exactly low tech, isn't anywhere near high tech or up to date, so he's trying to capture as best as possible. What are you doing?
And it's us and this kindred in this alleyway, or are there the two other individuals that were with her?
No, it's just
still there?
you and her, and Lucio firing his pistol, his handgun, there's no way to hide that it is a handgun firing. It is as close to a shotgun blast as you can be, and it still be a complete actual pistol, a complete actual handgun. It is a massive cannon, straight out of something that you might see on Last Action Hero. What are you doing?
I think I'm gonna try to look for a rock or a drink or a trash can and throw it at it. I changed my mind. Did I change my mind?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna wait until Lucio's done shooting at her, and if she's still standing and seemingly a threat, because her eyes just went dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when Lucio's done shooting at her, I'm gonna try and run up and grab her. If she's still standing,
It is the most unnerving scene. You've seen Lucio become shadow. You've never seen him this angry or this pissed. There's a cold place where he exists. And as he fires into the alley, Laura isn't there. Where the bullets hit, she just was. But they hit what appears to be this gelatinous, nearly solid shadow, passing almost completely harmlessly through. And Laura isn't there. Just the shadows of the alley have become what this portion of the alley is. It's oozing and sliding across the ground. There's a coolness issuing forth from this shadow. And it literally feels as if someone's attempting to cover you in snow. You first feel the first few flakes wet against the skin, but as the darkness grows closer, the coolness starts to ratchet up. It feels as if the Arctic wind is whispering in your ear.
So am I done with my text yet?
Yes, you feel the cold and you're slipping your phone away. What are you doing?
I'm looking up to make sure, because you said we're in the back of a loading bay, that there aren't cameras pointed at us.
Wits and larceny. Lucio, Diz, Alex, Whispers. As the cold begins to take more of a physical effect on your deadened skin, what are you choosing to do?
I am going to activate Tenebrous Avatar. I am going all out on her.
Okay.
Do I see any place, any way to climb out of the alleyway? Like any ladders that lead up to balconies or rooftops?
Balconies or rooftops, no, but there is a bridge to your right, which is Upper Superior, or Superior Avenue. There is the alley behind you, which leads further north and away from the situation, and then on your left is the building itself. The loading bay area where you all are, all of the rolling doors are closed. There's no one delivering anything, but that should be happening fairly soon, as it's obvious that this building has restaurants and various other entities that would be receiving deliveries between now and 8 or so in the morning.
Alright, so I don't get hungrier, but I do get 1 stain.
Excellent. Very nicely done. Good things all around. Alright, Hez, you know exactly what building this is. And it is almost laughable that 6 kindred are engaging in what looks like unholy war behind the Christian Science reading room. It's an area that you, you and Karen have visited multiple times before, because hidden in those Christian texts are often codes, formulas, spells, some would say. Others would just simply say songs or poems that prove very useful in dealing with the spirits that have access to this work, and dealing with the forces supernal, as well as just the forces that exist beyond most people's understanding. This place has its own niche audience of people who visit frequently, such as yourself and others. And yes, there are cameras. Diz, you watch as Lucio becomes something that you've seen before and you were hoping to not see again. He literally becomes shadow, not as amorphous or globulous as whatever it was that the kindred he was following, the blonde-haired platinum kindred he was following and attempted to assassinate was. He kind of melts into this being, smooth and subtle, where she just kind of bobbed out like an explosion of slime, for lack of a better word. What is it that you're doing?
I yell probably some gibberish, doesn't mean anything to anybody else, some old code word from the coterie that we're being ambushed. And then I switch to, oh, fuck this shit, we're being ambushed, and then I use Spark of Rage on this chick, see how she does without the process of rational thought while she fights us.
Well, now, roll that lovely being footage as you become the very heat and furnace of anger, forcing that energy out forward into where she was and what she has become. Lucio becomes shadow. Hestia spots the cameras, whispers,
Go into the building.
you attempt to try to find a way into the building. All right, so you attempt to circle around and try to find a way into the building. Alex? Captain America?
I don't know what else to do because the battle that's going on is between shadows, which I don't know how much Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can do against shadows. So I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna follow whispers and hope I can help them.
Okay, so Alex and Whisper pull away from the battle and try to head towards the building. Actually, one of the main things that comes to you is the fact that you not only do you know where you all are, you know what the community that's attracted to this building, who visit this building, what they potentially could be. And it causes you to begin looking around. With your successes in spotting with the cameras that can see this alley or who have a clear line of sight to the shadow monstrosities beginning to do very wild and near animalistic combat, you realize that you're not exactly alone. You hear the rush of feet, but they're far enough away that they're not directly behind you. So you glance towards Superior, you see 4 of the kindred that pulled off from with Laura arrive at the bridge. Down the alley behind you, you hear footsteps and see the vague outline of Damien and Alexa, and a few other faces you're not entirely sure of, but you're sure that they are hounds of some shape, fashion, or form. What is it that you're doing as Whispers and Alex break toward the building? And Diz becomes this very living definition of heat. It's not directed at you, so you don't feel what that heat stirs, but it's clear something with her is happening.
This is like probably the first time I'm absolutely at a loss as to what exactly to do, because I'm looking at Damien and I'm looking at like which group things seems like it's gonna get here first.
The 4 on the bridge. All they do is leap down.
Okay. And then there's still the cameras. Do I care about the cameras anymore?
Do you?
Well, okay, then I'll shout to Alex and Whispers, cameras, if you can, please. And then hopefully they'll take care of that somehow. I don't know. And then I'm going to put the camera away because I've already snapped enough pictures of all that's going on. Obviously, when Damien gets here, he's going to see the whole big mess that's going on, and it's obvious that she's Sabat now, so yeah. That's the problem.
Is it obvious she's Sabat? Or is it obvious that her and Lucia are the same, or similar, if not the exact same blood?
No, that's what they're assuming, right? Because that's why they kept calling Lucio Sabat.
Yes. Good old Newberry.
So, I guess I'm just gonna go for my blades and make sure that the 2 fighting behind me don't get snuck up on.
Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to roll. Alex, it's clear Whispers is trying to get into the building. Are you going to attempt to help him try to circumvent security to get inside?
Storyteller, I think that we can't hear you right now if you're talking.
Okay. Are you going to attempt to help Whispers circumvent security to get inside the building?
Yes.
Alright, so Whispers, are you handling the role, or are you going to let Alex do the work on that? All right, Whispers, we'll go ahead and roll dexterity and larceny or strength and larceny as you attempt to break into the building. And while that's happening, Diz, your successes were, let's go ahead and roll this without any shading whatsoever. You have an automatic success. Unbeknownst to you, Laura is prone to such fits of absolute bestial energies. She is very, very close to being completely out of it. So even though you weren't initially successful, she's kind of prone to it. So it all rolls in together that you know. It's literally that scene. Well, unbeknownst to you, she's into that. So her attacks, while initially going to be kind of tactful and tasteful, the merest hint and touch of rage excites her. And she goes with it. She gives herself over to that energy.
Happy to help.
While that's happening, are you attempting anything else?
I will draw that gun, and you say there's 4 dudes jumping down from the bridge?
Yes, they are leaping over now.
I'll see if I can make something come out of this and hit one of them.
Oh, excellent. Go ahead and roll your dexterity and firearms. You are at a small loss. You do need to hit. You definitely need 3 successes. To fire, not a problem, but to hit, you will need 3 successes. Hestia, as those 4 are leaping over, Diz whirls towards them and begins letting off shots. While that's happening, you see that this trap that you all sprung and ran towards being pulled by Laura has come to some semblance of fruition. Not only those 4 are leaping over, there are 4 closing in behind Damien's crew and pulling them back, literally engaging them in outright, no holds barred, steak meets vampire combat.
Well, crap. I also want to make sure that Alex knew that I was shouting about the cameras, so that I don't know whether he heard that or not. But I'm pretty sure Damien can hold his own, and I don't know how many he brought with him. But yeah, try to keep an eye on that. But I'm also going to keep an eye on the 4 in front of me. Yeah, I'm just gonna be ready, I guess.
Okay. Lucio, as you take on this shadowy, tenebrous form of just unmitigated potential pain, the coldness that you were feeling from the shadow that she was pulling forth has lessened to the point where it's completely non-existent for you. However, her rage is apparent and triggers your dying memory of this blonde, small, waifish woman cutting a swath through your life. She was the last thing, the last image seared into the corneas of your dying human life. Would you be so kind as to see if you can maintain some semblance of control? Because here's the thing that killed you. Here's the thing that separated you from your family. Here's the thing that has drained and put you into this world of unending sorrow and monstrosity. To be so kind as to roll your either composure +3 or humanity to maintain some semblance of not losing yourself.
Composure plus resolve, you said? Or
yes.
Okay, composure plus resolve. That's what I'll do then, because I have 8 in that in total. Oh, am I including hunger in this roll?
No.
I will burn a willpower on this one because I don't trust 2. That's my second point of wasted willpower.
Nope, 2 successes keeps you from losing it completely. But if it is not pertaining to ending Laura, you will not respond to it without exerting some forced willpower over yourself. She is your target. She is the person that ended your life. She is the person that harmed your family. She is the person that is responsible for everything that has led to this moment. And let's go ahead and see how effective she is in this moment of flailing as completely and totally predatorily animalistic as she is. Everyone sees those Tarzan movies and thinks that's something they can do. You can roll a crocodile, or watch Steve Irwin growing up, or seen river monsters. Yeah, you are strong enough and physically able to tolerate those environments. However, being this close to what she is, because what she is right now is a predator given the ability to act. And all of her actions seem determined to strip your unlife as well as life from you. As she's flailing, shadow teeth rending, and attempting to end everything that you are. What are you doing, Miss Yu? You manage to maintain some composure and target her specifically, but that then control is very, very fleeting.
So, 2 questions before I decide what I do. Number 1, you said that I'm able to see through the darkness that she created?
Yes, you see a semblance of her physical form. She is still shadow, but you can see the outline of what she is. And what she is right now is that you really don't want to try and think on it, because she literally is a shadow version of a lupine, except for it's more feline.
So, like, she's also, like, used the same powers in me? Is that correct? Okay. Second question. What on earth happens if I try to... Because, like, one of the things that Tenebrous Avatar lets me do is engulf someone.
Mm-hmm.
How on earth would that work if the person I'm trying to engulf is also shadow?
It's being handled as attack versus attack. You two can harm each other. Most everything else physically won't affect you. But her target is you, and your target is her, so it's an attack versus an attack for damage. Whoever wins is... Have you played the Hole.io?
I don't think I have.
Well, it's a game where you play as a whole. The more you eat, the larger you get. The larger you get, the more you can eat. And often, if you're just large enough, you can swallow the other players in the game. And that's what is attempting to happen here. She's literally attempting to consume everything that you are.
Okay, so she's gonna basically try to do that to me. I'm gonna activate Arms of Ahriman and start attacking her with the shadow tendrils. I am going, because I figure that it's probably going to work against her. It is shadow versus shadow.
It is.
And right now, Lucio is basically going full Shadow Kraken mode and is going to try and rip her to shreds if he can.
Sounds like a good plan. Make that happen. And while you roll that,
I do not get hungrier.
Your shot goes wide, unfortunately. Not only does it go wide, but it actually strikes one of the pillars for the bridge. You've never seen such a pretty explosion so close up. The shell hits, and it looks as if it was hit by a fiery water balloon. There's the immediate muzzle flash that you've seen on TV and action movies, but instead of it just being a flash, it's more of a geyser of flame.
Holy fuck, guys, did you see that?
And unfortunately, your one success does not meet her. She literally has been doing this for far too long, Lucio. She is a That was your rouse roll, wasn't it?
Oh, you mean me? Yeah, that was my rouse check. Did you want me to make the attack roll now?
Yes.
Okay. It's wits plus oblivion, so that's 9. And if it does hit, if I recall correctly, actually I have the document pulled up. Let me look at it. Yeah, so it adds half the potence rating to the damage, and my potence is 2.
Yep.
Alright, so wish me luck, everyone. I still want to re-roll some dice because I want as much damage as possible. 1 extra dice. I'll take it.
Look at that, 6 successes. Very awesome. While that's happening, these shadow monstrosities are ripping and flailing and attempting to consume each other. While that's happening, the shot went past their heads. They land in front of you and start closing on you, Diz, and you, Hestia. Whispers, go ahead and roll. Did you give me that roll that I asked for? Don't see it. Oh, wait, there it is. You got 1 success. You're working on the door as all... No, that's... Yeah. Was that supposed to be a willpower roll? You re-rolled?
Who?
Yeah,
Me?
What's this?
All 3.
Alright, so... as you work at picking the lock, you realize that it's not really necessary to pick the lock when you could just lift and push it up. It's not really locked, considering there must be someone inside who patrols the area or they're waiting on deliveries. The door slides open and you and Alex are in the building. Finding what you need at this point is what is it you're looking for? The security officer who might be inside? Are you looking for the security office, or what are you looking for?
Security office.
Alright, intelligence and larceny. And when you get that roll, we'll kick back around to you and Alex. 6 successes plus this potence. 2 more. You can tell that you have hurt her somehow. You're not sure how badly she's hurt Lucio, but it is clear that your parallel, i.e. Laura, has been injured by your attack. There's a bit of a staggering, and not that she needs to breathe, but there's a weakening of her attempts to consume and swallow you whole. Now let's go ahead and get these moving. They ouch. Alright, so they close with every intention of divesting you of your very precious vitae. The fire not only scared them, it actually drove them very, very close to fleeing. However, in the grand scheme of things, if you're dead, you can't get off another shot. That's how they're thinking. And they attempt to dogpile you, Diz, and you, Hestia. 2 on each of you. What are you attempting to do?
Well, I'm going to activate my fleetness.
Okay.
I do not get hungrier. But I'm going to attempt to just defend myself. I don't know what I'm doing with this gun.
Well, at this point, burning down the city, which is always a good thing. You should always do that. The city needs the fire. You could be the spark. Hestia, as these 2 kindred close on you, what are you doing? And are you attempting to just dodge this, or what?
Yeah, just get out of the way.
Rapid reflexes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, kind of. I don't know if they'd be dumb enough to like rush at me from either side, but the thing duck under the arms and get out of the way, so they smack into each other. that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
All right. So, both of you all, go ahead and roll your dexterity and athletics for me. Well, there's natural skill and grace, and then there's training. You all have the benefit of the blessings of the blood and are able to move faster and more graceful than either of these these other kindred that are closing on you. Unfortunately for you all, they are considerably more trained when it comes to dishing out and potentially avoiding pain. As you dodge the nearest kindred on your left or move from between them, the one on the right connects. That is a grand total of their strength plus the threshold gives them a 1 superficial damage that you all take from being shoved, pushed, or bitten by these kindred that are attempting to hold you still long enough to sink fangs. Nothing like little after party snack, as the saying goes. While in the building, Whispers and Alexander have gotten just lucky enough to realize that the security office would more than likely, in a building like this, be as out of the way as possible, i.e. behind the front desk of the building, just behind that door that sits there. At least that's how it should be. Coming from the delivery, the dock area, it takes a little bit of time to get there. And in doing so, you pass several differing cameras until you find yourself at the security desk. There are 4 officers who are looking at the camera saying, I don't fucking believe this shit. And while that's happening, you will have them there. Swinging back around, Lucio, you've wounded the beast. Moby Dick is beginning to bellow. The unfortunate result of wounding a beast and not killing it on the initial opportunity, its attacks increase in frenetic pace. It is as if she's attempting to pull what shadows abound around you into herself and swallow you dry. Everyone still there?
Yeah, I saw you roll something, but is there something I'm supposed to roll against this?
Are you attempting to dodge or you attempting to attack? Are you attempting to evade or meet force with force?
I'm gonna meet force with force. And is it possible to combine, is it possible to, do the Arms of Ahriman attack and also try and, do what she's doing to me to counter, or am I just countering the Arms of Ahriman?
You'd be countering with Arms of Ahriman, or you could pretty much switch between the two or decide which one you're going to do as a counter as she attempts to pull darkness in and smother you further with it.
If I wanted to do what she's doing to me, would it be the same roll?
Yes.
I think I'll continue with Arms of Ahriman because I get the potence bonus at least with that.
All right. Let's get that beautiful footage happening.
Yeah, so basically as she was trying to swallow me into her, like, shadow maw, my tentacles are stabbing that maw.
Alright, make it happen. And while that roll is taking place, Diz has shared you guys are facing off against Kindred, who have experience in wreaking damage to others. Kindred, what are you doing?
I am going to activate my prowess this round so I can be fast and strong. But then I will also try to push off one of these guys and shoot him point blank center mass.
Okay. Alright, make it happen. Go ahead, give me that lovely dexterity and firearm roll. Two successes plus your opponent's going to give you 3. Okay. Hess, what are you doing is they have sufficiently dealt a whack to you.
I mean, if they wouldn't take a bite out of me so bad, I might as well give it to them. But I'm going to make my blood poisonous.
Alright then.
So, I'm going to coat both one of my blades by running it across my tongue, and then I'm going to make my blood poisonous so that if anybody does take a bite of me, they get a full mouthful of poison.
Alright. Do you have the system for needed to make that roll?
Yeah, it's strength plus blood source.
Alright, make it happen. And this is your opponent's level 1 or level 2? What level was your opponent's at?
Level 3, actually.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Nicely done. So that level 3 of prowess would give you a grand total of 5 successes. Hesher, you have 6 successes versus their 3. So as they close and clamp down on your forearm, they reel back screaming as you can see their mouths smoking, the 2 that are on you, Hesher, as they're screaming in pain. And you hear the scuffle down the alley from where Damien and his crew of other hounds, and the trap has closed. You've never seen a person immolated almost on impact. And that's exactly what happens to the Kindred on your left as you force the other one back, giving you just enough room to fire point blank into his chest. It explodes as the gout of flame from your pistol rockets through him, and he is almost instantaneously immolated and the wound cauterized. While inside, Whispers and Alex come face to face with the 4 security officers who are watching the cameras. What was that, Whispers? We didn't get that.
Are they armed?
Yes, they have clubs. Nice things, if you will. They look oh so nice and neat despite the hours. white button-up security shirts with their tin badges over their left breast pockets, pleated gray pants with blue stripes down the sides, and each carrying their nightclubs. A utility belt that should make Batman jealous, but is only holding pepper spray, handcuffs, and their nightsticks.
I'm gonna whisper to Whispers.
All right, with that decision ahead of us, it is 50 after the hour. All right, let's take a quick 10 here with the very lifeblood of the city at risk and potentially at ruin. Unfortunately, there's some awareness that's going to be needed coming up. So we'll pick up exactly right here with the big question. So how you all are going to handle those security agents, the outcome, the final outcome of the engagement in the alley, and where we may end up. So a quick 10 and we'll be right back, guys. So spot on the hour. See you in a bit.
See you then.
All right, so diving back into our situation, the two that were immediately on you, Hestia, are reeling back in pain. One of the two that were attacking Dizzy now has a hole where his center mass once was, efficiently and painfully cauterized so that the hole is still gaping. While inside the building, Alexander, you and Whispers are not face to face. You're still out of sight, but there are 4 security guards standing around the cameras. What are you choosing to do? Didn't quite catch that, Alex. I think your mute is still on.
Yeah, no, I took it off for a second, but I put it back on.
All right. So
You can't see us?
you are out of sight right this second. They are focused on the cameras as if they're watching a heavyweight fight.
Well, I was trying to ask Whispers if he could fight, but before the break, I don't know if he's here, if he's in the thing.
Yeah, it appears as if he's AFK at the moment. So you, sir, have the floor. What's your tactical appraisal of the situation?
So, is there a door to this like photo room?
No, they're at the front receptionist desk.
Front receptionist desk. There's 4 of them sitting at the
2 sitting, 2 standing. They're leaning over the camera watching whatever this is happening in the back of their building. Doesn't appear as if they've made any move to call the police or any other assistance as it's happening outside.
So, should I assume that they've seen on the cameras the shadow war that's happening?
You should.
Okay. I probably need to knock all these guys out so that somebody can get
Okay, how are you going to do that? How are you going to tackle the situation?
I'm gonna try to sneak up and hit one really hard in the head, so I only have to fight 3.
All right, dexterity and give me a second, sorry. Yeah, dexterity and stealth. They are distracted, so anything but a failure gives you a success. And then you can add the result of your successes above 3 to your next attack. 3 exactly, so no distinctive bonuses except for you have the initial indefensible first attack, which is strength and brawl, or if you're using a particularly martially focused skill or style of attack, then it will be dexterity and brawl.
So I didn't quite catch that.
Either strength and brawl or dexterity and brawl. Strength and brawl, just simple, straightforward bashing. If you attempt to use a martial arts ability or skill or talent learned and taught, then it will be dexterity and brawl. Well now, were you attempting to do damage or attempting to pull your punch to just knock them out?
I'm sorry?
Are you attempting to do damage in the attack, or are you attempting to try to go as non-damaging as possible?
I want to knock him out, hopefully not kill him.
Oh, he's out. He's down. He falls sprawling with the most embarrassing you've ever heard in an up-close and personal exchange. However, such a grievous and egregious action causes his friends and associates to summon what bravery they have, and the person nearest him attempts to catch him from hitting the floor. The one standing to your right tries to whirl with a nice crashing elbow strike, and the one around that's furthest to the left is attempting to circle back around and flank. And while that's happening, Laura has given up any attempts at doing anything more than harming you as decidedly as possible. Dizzy's summoning her rage, which was never far from the surface, has removed any option except for your complete and total pain. Are you continuing to meet force with force, Lucio?
I will.
Let's make this happen.
And my last bit of willpower for good measure.
Alright, so initial, you're going to need to take half of that, which moves your superficial up to 5, and it moves her superficial with your potence is 2 or 3, I forget.
My potence is 2.
Okay, so that's 3. Taking up 3, meaning that she now has 2 ag and a full bar of superficial damage. She is hurt, she is injured, and she is fleeting. Her
Fleeing or fleeting?
fleeting with a T.
Okay. Also, I'm at full superficial damage on my health bar, so what does that mean right now for me?
That means that you would not be able to spin without taking aggravated willpower damage, and the pressure of the situation is weighing heavily on Lucio's mind. The reality of this is that despite all of everything that she's done thus far, that she may not be the villain that he seems to think of her as. The fact that he has never killed a person, living or dead, the fact that this is vengeance and not justice would prey havoc with his mind in the situation. There is a just outcome being trotted before the curmudgeon and making them make the final decision that plays lightly at the back of his mind. His rage has been given vent, and the pressures of what this is would begin to settle in.
Okay. That's for the full willpower, right?
Yes.
And what about for the full health? Because my health is also full of superficial right now.
The physical ramifications of that is that you are glad to be dead. Because if you had been living, you would be in need of medical attention that would probably require several months of rehab and recuperation. Right now, the damage to you is superficial. It's something that you could mend. You can get past this. It is taxing on the body and taxing on you're still more human than you want to admit mind. The holes that would be present in your skin, or the fact that your heart would be beating tremulously in your chest at this point, as the real shock response will begin to set in, does play some havoc with perception, but you are fine and able to continue moving on if you want to make this a matter of potential death.
So right now, I think Lucio is going to try to incapacitate her as much as possible. Like, I don't know if continuing is going to kill her or not, but I definitely want to stop her from killing me, first of all, and either restrain her, essentially beat her into torpor is what I'm trying to do.
Alright, sounds like a plan. Alright, sounds like a plan. And while Lucia's making that tactical decision, you've just blown a hole in this kindred. You literally just flambéed his soul into nightliness. And he was clearly young enough for that to not be a definitive corpse ashing wound, as his dried, very toasty corpse falls at your feet. His friend of the moment, the vampire on your right that you elbow to get space attempts to flee. He's never seen anything like that happen before and doesn't plan on being on the receiving end. He turns to flee. Hestia, the vampires in front of you are wounded and clearly reeling in pain, but they have decided that the best portion of valor is a discretion, as they glance past you with the bright jets of flame erupting from what appears to be a handgun, but clearly is not. What are you choosing? What are you and Dizzy choosing to do at this moment?
Now, the thing with Ball's caress, it's not like Scorpion's touch. Scorpion's touch would only affect them for a little while. Ball's caress is meant to kill.
Yes.
So I don't know how they're still standing, but what I'm gonna do is, I feel like they're already handled. Dizzy has them. I'm gonna go help Damien.
Okay. Diz.
I'm gonna let the one go. I'm gonna lock eyes with the one that's still fighting with Hestia. I'm not using any powers or anything. I'm just gonna smile at him and go, "Yippee-ki-yay! I'm Annie-Oakley, motherfucker. You better run."
Oh no, they've decided discretion is a better part of valor, and they begin to pull back away from Hestia. Whatever she did to them, whatever is happening within her vitae, has caused them to take grievous internal wounds. Normally, the difference between you two is that the damage they took now isn't superficial. That's the difference, just so that you're wondering mechanically, Hestia, the difference between the two. You've done grievous, deathly wounds to them in places where no one but them can feel or see from the inside out. And sampling your blood has caused them to fear for their lives. It's like drinking ocean water. You drink your fill, but you keep getting drier and drier and more dehydrated by the moment. And that's what's happening to them as you take off running towards Damien.
Sounds good.
I'll let them guys run away then. There's no way to tell at this point which shadow is which, though, right? It's just kind of a mass of blackness.
And it's a massive blackness, and their screams that sound... The best way to describe the scream is if you take a robotic panther and begin beating it with the body of another. That very hair-raising, feline-like screams of pain auto-tune into the most bass-dropping song you can imagine. Is what's happening with those shadows attempting to consume, and every once in a blue moon you'll see a lash of just shadow taking form, like some hentai porn striking the other. It's not a good sight nor a good sound, to say the least.
Alright, I'm just going to point my gun at the blackness for now and try to get a good vantage point, but until I don't want to hit Lucio with it, so I'm just going to hold my action, I guess, for now.
He's a big boy, he could take it. Alright, while that's happening, Lucio, one final exchange. Let's see if you can push her up and over the top as she attempts to bowl through you and move further away. She still wants to end you in the process of escaping, but escape does kind of factor into her thought process at this point. While inside, you put one down, the other one's trying to close and make this a matter of force meets force.
Alright, so one final roll. Is that
Yes.
what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whatever happens, happens. I have no willpower to re-roll. Everyone, give me your energy. Wish me luck. Oh, shit.
Was that enough energy?
That's a lot of energy.
2 for her. Puts her... Oh, my goodness. Alright, so... the dice gods have shined upon you this day. You shall live this moment for the rest of time. Because in the exchange, these two nearly incorporeal forms of vengeance and hate splash against each other, showering those nearest with a sense of cold dread as Lucio staggers out of shadow, resting against a dumpster near at hand. The very still undead body of Laura falls 2 feet further from him as the shadow clashed and the hate-filled screams of enmity echo through the alley. Lucio, you have a full health track and 1 aggravated. And your worst enemy is lying 2 feet past you. Her alabaster skin grayed, her eyes still flitting from one moment to the next, still. And the shadows therein fade until you can see the watery blue of her eyes. While Hestia, you will go rushing towards Damien and his crew, who were surprised and set upon by these foul, very hateful meaning kindred. Damien and Alexa, back to back, are attempting to stake and otherwise incapacitate those nearest them, but 4 against 2 is no one's idea of good odds. As at their feet there's a drained and staked Asian American kindred. Not farther afield is another kindred you've not seen before. What is your first action?
I've still got some red blood on my blade. Who's closest to me? Like, what can I get to first? Or who can I get to first?
The kindred that are harrying Alexa is closest.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna like come from behind and slash across the back.
Alright, go ahead and get that dexterity in the lead. Diz, you see that Heshia's run off towards the conflict taking place further north down the alley behind you. Are you posted up and waiting, or are you going to help Hestia?
This Shadow Girl's still alive, right? She just is not Shadow anymore?
She is not Shadow any longer.
I'm going to walk up and say, "This is for Zeke, you Sabat piece of shit," and pop her right in the head with that gun.
All right. Anything but a failure? Automatic success to make it happen.
Thousands for decks there.
Well, now. All right. And
so the first was to rouse my decks. The second
Can I? Okay, am I able to stop her? Because I would, as much as I hate her, I have basically just beaten her, the ever-living shit out of her. I do want her to confess as much as possible to, like, whatever they're, trying to do. But if I'm like also beat to shit right now, so I don't know if I can stop her.
how would you try to stop her? Would you attempt to move Diz's arm? Would you attempt to try to stop her with a compassion plea? How would you
I was basically gonna just say, like, shout to her, "Wait! Stop!" That's all that I would probably be able to get out before she tries this.
Okay, well, Diz, as you level to fire, rousing the blood to make sure that this Sabat monster does no longer exist to cause harm to any other person, you hear Lucio's voice a little strained with the effort of the night thus far. Shout, "Wait, stop!" What do you do?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm gonna flip a coin here, I think. I guess since he did give me a place to stay, I will hold my hand. So.
Oh, the tension and stress is clear and evident, while you no longer have to fear the buildup of lactic acid. The very effort to not pull the trigger is very, very strong. The Sabbat were part and parcel of the reason that Zeke had to sacrifice himself for the crew, and why Gaz and Alston and Drea may very well be part of that other world that you all visited because of the lodestone. Why Noe doesn't exist any longer, ripped to shreds.
Once I see that she stopped, Lucio is going to shamble over to the nearest sharp object, whether it's like wooden or metal, pry it off, and is going to stake Laura.
Okay. Dexterity melee, anything but a failure is a success. And while you rolled that, inside with the security guards and Alexander and Whispers, they have not seen you yet, Whispers, which means any action, attack, otherwise you make would technically still be a secret, out of the way action. What are you choosing to do as Alex wades in, cold cocks the largest of the security guards, and takes their attention?
A message that sabotaged the computers is recording the cameras.
Alright. Alex, are you attempting to meet force with force while Whispers works on that? Or are you attempting to outsmart and outthink them, as the third is attempting to flank you?
I'm gonna try to grab the one going. You said one of them was going to hit me, right?
Yes, the one immediately to your right.
I'm gonna try to grab him and throw him into the one trying to flank me.
Alright, strength and brawl. All right. All right. That being the case, Whispers, go ahead and roll. While that's taking place, go ahead and roll your wits and technology. Your target number is a 4. You have, as long as it takes Alexander to make multiple rerolls to deal with and dispatch the security officers before the system may shut down or close off or otherwise enact its own defense measures. Alexander, you grab the gentleman who tries to give you an elbow from hell. You stop the elbow from connecting and respond with using his body weight to shove him into his associate. Unfortunately, both of them go sprawling, but the security guard who was attempting to flank you maintains his feet. He's farther away and clearly not flanking you, but he is still on his feet. Alright, 3 successes. Nice. So he's going to take another roll, which is going to give you an additional couple of minutes while that's happening. And how are you going to dispatch the last standing, well, the last 2 standing, Alexander?
say there was one left standing or two?
There are two standing, but only one within close attack range.
I'm just gonna go try to punch him.
Oops, wrong punch me. Alright. In the space of several very rapid heartbeats, you have laid low 3 of the 4 guards. The 4th guard, who has still managed to maintain his feet, takes off running down the hall. While Whispers is somehow managed to sneak past you and is working at the computer desk and doing all sorts of syntax errors, and it looks as if he's typing in Greek and what is that? Needless to say, the power in the building shuts down the moment the 3rd guard drops. While with Damien's crew, the sneak attack swings the momentum of that portion of the battle in you all's favor. Hestia, it's clear that these kindred have no sense of self-preservation, or at least this crew doesn't, because as you stab him clearly in the chest, the scream that erupts from him is not one of pain, but of rage. Like, how fucking dare you? I will end you. My last breath if it's necessary. Is what you get from the scream that erupts. Damien and Alexa taking momentum, leap into attack, forsaking the two that seem to be targeting Damien specifically, injuring the nearest kindred to Alexa. The building where you all were fighting near, the lights blink and flicker before going completely out. So you have Laura Blakeney staked. You have Francois and Wendy Wade escaping into the night as Hestia, Damien, and Alexa drop the other. What are you all deciding to do?
So once Laura is staked, he turns to Dizzy and says, "She's the one that I saw with that guy from the government." And at this point, he sounds extremely winded and very much in pain. If there's any hope of finding your friends, she might be one of the only people who knows where they are.
Well, I know that bitch can hear me, and she can thank you for her unlife right now.
I have a feeling she won't have it for much longer. I'm gonna sit for a bit. I am in an ungodly amount of pain. Here, and I'm gonna hand Dizzy my gun. I want that back after this.
Oh, I got one. It makes giant holes.
You know how to use it, right?
No, but it's working so far, so I'm good.
Just point and shoot. I'm gonna sit down for a bit.
Okay.
Damien is no less tired. In fact, this is more of the same that he's been dealing with for the last 3 weeks in Milwaukee. Alexa, unfortunately, doesn't have the good sense that God gave her and considers this fun. If Harley Quinn, not from Suicide Squad, but actual Harley Quinn from Batman Animated Adventures, was given flesh and could take pleasure in the sheer chaos of kindred upon kindred warfare, that's exactly who Alexa would be right now, with a very heavy Latin tinge to her accent. She thinks this has been the most fun they've had since she had to leave Milwaukee to come help Lulu, who is on the ground stage currently. The other kindred, she doesn't even bother to name, but it's clear that he doesn't have any value to her in one way or the other. Damien suggests that you will clear out, i.e. grab the bodies, push them to shove, throw them in the dumpster, and let's get the fuck out of here because the sun is coming in less than an hour. There's no time to really debrief anyone on what's happened. Needless to say, yeah, this was a fuck situation. They clearly knew what they were doing. We don't know exactly. We can't prove from them being wild and foolish and risking their own lives that they were sabbat, but we do have ways to ensure they speak and divest themselves of any potential secrets as to why they did what they did. At nearly an hour to sunrise, it would take a just shy of high-speed chase to make it to the coterie's haven before the sun breaks the horizon line. The risk of that is inherent. How are you all choosing to escape the sun's coming embrace?
I think maybe we should follow or go with Damien, because I have a body to. Number one, I have a body to take with me that he'll be very interested in. And number two, he's probably going to be the one to be able to get out of here quickest. Anyone else?
How close is my other haven? My personal haven?
It's actually 15 minutes further than the group haven, than the coterie's haven.
Okay, so it's further out instead of closer to the city. That's weird. I would have thought I would have got it closer.
It's south, and it's not directly off of Lakeshore Drive, so it adds, unfortunately, a little time for you to get there.
I agree that we should leave. As for the body thing, would I have one of my drops nearby as far as cars go?
No, because you drove down in the car from the haven, so you didn't get a chance to set up anything for the night.
Right, I drove my personal vehicle, but what about one of my? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you didn't have time to set up anything for the night because you were actually at home in the haven preparing for the sun.
Is Arsenio anywhere nearby? I just remembered that I asked him to come with us too.
Yes, and he was driving back because Hesha said she didn't need him, so he's hopping off of Lakeshore Drive and driving towards your sister's address.
Because he might be able to take some people in the trunk. Or
a hotel or motel nearby.
Yes, there are 3.
So that's easy then. I know at least one of you guys can mind fuck people, right?
I can make them.
Yeah, I have compelled.
So we check into a motel. We tell them there's one of us. We pile in the bathtub. We've done that before. Well, I guess you guys haven't done that before. I've done that before.
And then Arsenio can take Laura's body in the trunk and take it back to the haven, I guess. Or where Damien says to go, I guess. But yeah, we can
I
do a
was-
hotel.
I was gonna go with Damien with the body, and then I was gonna say that Arsenio can take someone back to the Haven. Like if they didn't want to come with us.
Damien clears his throat, making sure that everyone on their side or your side is technically still alive, even if they've been beaten slightly far too much, and suggests the motel idea because where he's was going to go isn't necessarily as safe as he would like for as many of you all as there is. Deciding to take the suggestion, he suggests the Days Inn, which is a Gold Coast little no-tell motel, roughly a block and a half over down Superior. The getting there, as Arsenio makes his way towards you all, is the issue. There's not enough space in the Broham for everyone. Throwing bodies in the trunk is not an issue. Keeping them in the trunk, well, that's what it is. And as much as Arsenio is tempted to keep himself from being aware that the supernatural exists specifically outside of Lucio, there's no way in denying the fact that those people are staked through the chest and not bleeding. This is his first time having to honestly admit and not justify things as either a drug deal gone wrong, a freaky sex thing, or God knows what. And so, a little early for the episode and all, but I think this is a good place for us to conclude with everyone bunking down at the Days Inn and closing out the night with the realization that you all just defeated for the second time physically an elder kindred. This time, at least they're not part of the Primogen. This time, at least you, as hounds of note, have brought to a close a pernicious potential evil. What may come of this, what details arise, what they're willing to tell or coerce into telling through enhanced interrogation techniques, is anyone's guess. The things that are definitive, in the course of the evening, in the course of this tete-a-tete, while Whispers was successful in destroying the evidence from this building security camera, corrupting their solid state drives where all the information was saved, the knowledge of this happening isn't safe. You were in a downtown delivery bay, and while you obtained sufficient means to obfuscate that the supernatural exists, there are significantly more cameras in the area. Those of you who are security minded, this is the thing that stands out. It's a delivery bay. The building had cameras, yes, but also the city of Chicago does as well. So your victory, while a very potent one, does fill you all with a sense of dread as to what tomorrow or next week or next month may bring from this. A dedicated attack on this and stemming the flow before it gets out or before it spreads wide is something that makes itself apparent. So as everyone puppy piles into the bathroom, door closed and barred by every means available to you all sleep. Well, who are we kidding? You all die for the day with the thought of what comes next. Thank you all for a very exciting, enjoyable session. I look forward to seeing you all next week for the season finale. And have a lovely evening.
Thank you for the session. I fucking did it! I finally got her!